Okay, well, thank you very much. Kumusta kayo po? Kumusta ang mga kababayan ko dito po sa Malaysia? Ang mga kababayan ko dito po sa Sabah is Malaysia, particularly dito po sa Kota Kinabalu. Kumusta kayo? And welcome sa programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nick Cook. And today is June 16 na po. Bukas is June 17 na po. Kumusta kayo? Monday na Monday. And hope everything is running smoothly sa inyo po, no? As we start a working week, Monday. And tuloy pa rin ang mga balita dyan sa Pilipinas regarding itong impeachment trial ni Inday Sara Duterte, ang mga latest updates, breaking news, tungkol ang kondisyon ni former President Tatay Digong or Rodrigo Roa Duterte dyan po sa Netherlands, particularly dyan po sa The Hague, and very specific dyan po sa detention center ng International Criminal Court or ICC. Dito po sa programa natin, I will be sharing with you mga latest updates regarding itong mga issues that is affecting sa mga Filipinos. Sa atin dito po sa Malaysia, mga Filipinos, as well as mga Malaysiano po, they want to know ano ang latest updates regarding kay Tatay Digong, regarding sa impeachment ni Inday Sara Duterte, no? So dito lang po sa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico, you will be able to know ano ang mga updates. Hindi man siguro lahat, but at least you will have a picture of what is happening dyan po sa Pilipinas, no? Dahil ang mga loved ones natin, especially itong mga overseas Filipino workers na nandito po sa ibang nasyon, dito sa Malaysia. Now, of course, they're also very concerned about what is happening sa Pilipinas, especially ang mga loved ones nila whom they left temporarily po and nagtrabaho sila dito para more or less, they will be able to give financial assistance, and through that financial assistance, they will be able to give a better future sa mga loved ones nila, sa mga anak nila po o sa pamilya nila. Dahil mahirap ang buhay po sa Pilipinas. Hindi naman sabihin natin mahirap talaga. Mahirap in the sense that our present government, administration ni Bongbong Marcos, has yet to do a lot of things to address ang numerous problems that we are facing ang nation natin, ang Pilipinas, in terms of food, in terms of transportation, in terms of job placement, in terms of unhealthy activities such as corruption being carried out by irresponsible government servants, ang mga corrupt politicians natin, ang too much sabihin natin activities or politicking, no? Instead of doing their job dyan po sa gobyerno, marami pong politika, and kulang ang trabaho. Kaya nga po, this is it. This is what we are facing now. Ang mga problema natin tungkol sa nation natin. So, let's continue anyway. Let's continue to pray that ang mga leaders natin whom we elected, both incumbent on those newly elected po, they will have a clear mind and focus sila po as what they promised during the campaign period, that they love the country, they love the Philippines, and they are here, they are presenting themselves to be public servants, elected public servants, to make sure that the welfare interest of every Filipino will be properly protected po. So sana lang po that will be realized, no? And of course, ang Marcos administration under the leadership of Bongbong Marcos Jr., we hope and pray that he will be properly guided by the Almighty, by our Creator, and as well as he will be shied away from people who would like to take advantage of his kindness, of his being so cool, while administering or managing the country po. So, yun po ang that is what we are hoping. But anyway, let's move on sa topic natin kasi alam ko po marami ang mga followers ko dito po sa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. They want to know ano ang latest updates regarding sa impeachment, regarding sa ICC. Ang very specific itong sabihin natin ang interim release bid for Tatay Digong po dyan sa ICC, no? Mayroon na po nag-submit ang documents ang counsel ni Tatay Digong asking the ICC or the court or International Criminal Court to seriously consider granting interim release to Tatay Digong soon as possible. He needs that, considering of his age po. So nandyan na po ang dokumento and there was no objection and anytime soon, if not too soon, we will hear kung ano ang desisyon ng korte ng ICC whether to grant or not to grant ang release bid, interim release bid for Tatay Digong. Anyway, I will share with you some footages regarding itong istorya natin, ang impeachment or ang interim release of Tatay Digong. Today, busy po ang Vice President natin dyan sa Pilipinas, si Inday Sara Duterte. As well as busy din po ang Presidente natin, si President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. No? Dahil today po, thousands of students, they kick off ang calendar, school calendar nila po. Today is the opening of classes dyan sa Pilipinas. Busy and ang dami din mga police personnel were deployed to make sure that the opening of classes will be safe and in order, orderly po. Dahil alam na ninyo po sa traffic congestion, traffic jam natin po sa Pilipinas, especially dyan po sa school compound, school area, no? Maghatid at saka magkuha ang mga bata, no? Sa eskwelahan po. So far, there's no untoward incidents that we heard from the local media dyan sa Pilipinas. Maganda yun. That's a good news po. And excited ang mga estudyante natin sa Pilipinas. Especially ito mga first-timers po, no? Mga kindergarten, ano ba yun? Mga nurseries, kindergarten, 1, 2, and of course, ang mga regular students, they are so excited after coming out from the school holiday. They are so excited to meet their classmates again. Maraming mga istorya po, both in grade school, sa high school, and sa college. Para sa mga estudyante, mga college students, okay, be serious in your studies. Be serious in your studies. Konting, sabihin natin, panahon na lang, and then you will be graduating, and of course, you will face the real world, after graduation po. So make full use of the opportunities given to you by your parents, no? Education is very important. Magandang kapital yun po to shape ang future natin. Although hindi naman lahat, sabihin natin, if you are not properly educated, that you cannot be successful. You can also be successful. We have a lot of people who did not finish their education, but successful din sila, nagiging presidente. Like, for example, si former President Estrada, no? Kick out siya sa eskwelahan. But he became a president. Maganda din ang performance niya. Si Tatay Digong is not so good sa klase. But you see, when he became a mayor, when he became a congressman, when he became the president of the Philippines, maganda po ang performance, ang legacy he left behind. And dami pa yan dyan po, no? Mga businessmen, you see mga businessmen, mga old businessmen, no? Hindi sila natapos ng edukasyon, but very successful. And now it is the children who are taking over ang business ng mga tatay nila. But it doesn't mean that I'm encouraging you, ang mga bata, no, not to study, not to study. Kailangan na kailangan niya po. It's a big help. It's a big push if you are educated. Because if you are not educated, then definitely you will be a social problem in the future sa community, sa nation natin po, o sa anong klaseng nasyon o ibang nasyon po. See? You will not be able to be as effective as those who are educated when it comes to helping the society, helping build up ang society, ang country natin po, ang Pilipinas. Alright? So, busy sila, and of course, si Inday Sara Duterte, this morning, busy din po attending ang function ng Office of the Vice President dyan po sa Davao. And after the event ni Inday Sara Duterte, mayroon doon po ang mga local media sa Davao, they managed to get a word or two from her. Or, in other words, nag-interview sila kay Inday Sara Duterte and ask questions like anong feelings niya, ang latest updates regarding sa impeachment trial ni Inday Sara Duterte, and a few words from Inday Sara Duterte regarding ang sitwasyon ng tatay niya dyan po sa ICC. Alright, let's start with this footage I have prepared for all of you regarding itong si Tatay Digong. Ang interim release bit ni Tatay Digong. Ito ang komento ni Inday Sara Duterte, the eldest daughter of Tatay Digong. Sana yan po. Alright? Let's listen to this.
Doon po sa request po ni FPRD with regards to the interim release.
Sa akin lang naman is makakabuti talaga sa kanya yon, ma'am, dahil 80 years old na siya at hindi lahat ng pangangailangan ng 80 years old ay nabibigay ng ICC detention unit dahil siya din ang kauna-unahang ICC detainee na gano'n ang edad na medyo hindi lang siya senior, super senior na siguro ang tawag sa kanya, ma'am, dahil 80 years old na siya. So, mas maigi siguro na meron siyang interim release wherein meron din siyang available na mga nurses and caregivers na mag-assist sa kanya.
Last question po, Ma'am Pipi. Meron po kasi...
Alright, yun po ang statement ni Inday Sara Duterte. And later on, I will add something. I will give my comment a little bit lang po, no? Before my comment or observation po, I will share with you another video clip si Inday Sara Duterte talking about the interim release bid para kay Tatay Digong. Nandito po. Let's listen to this. 151. Let's listen to this first.
Yung request for interim release ay nasubmit na ng Defense Council ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Nakalagay yon sa website ng ICC. Accessible yon sa ating lahat. At makikita natin doon kung ano ang mga pinagbasihan ng request for interim release, ano yung mga justification at explanations ng defense team ni dating Pangulong Duterte sa interim release. Merong mga redacted portions doon dahil naisip ng defense team na kailangan maging confidential yung ibang impormasyon doon. Pero yun ay available naman sa prosecutors, sa judges, and ang pagkakaalam ko, available din siya doon sa representatives ng mga biktima. Yun lang yung, kung ano yung nalalaman natin lahat sa publiko, yun lang din yung maibigay ko sa inyo na information. Yung iba pa ay kailangan tanungin at sagutin na ni Attorney Nicholas Kaufman.
Ma'am, any update dun sa oath-taking ni FPRD? Or any case, ma'am, before pa ng June 30, possible na ma-release na si FPRD? Nakikita niyo ba yung possibility na ganun, ma'am?
June 30?
Apo.
Wala kasing binigay na timeline. walang binigay na timeline yung lawyer. Pero lagi niyang sinasabi, we are hoping that it will be granted the soonest possible time. Yan yung lagi niyang sagot kapag tinatanong siya about interim release. Doon sa oath-taking, hindi ko alam kung ano yung discussions niya. Iba din ng mga abogado ni dating Pangulong Duterte sa oath-taking niya. Mga Filipino lawyers ang kausap niya at nag-aasikaso ng kanyang oath-taking.
Okay, yan po si Inday Sara Duterte giving us some information regarding ang sitwasyon ni Tatay Digong, especially the issue on the interim release of Tatay Digong. So, okay. First and foremost, hindi totoo na fake news ito, ha? Hindi totoo that Malaysia is the country agreed to play host kay Tatay Digong. One reason is Malaysia is not part or is not a member of the ICC. Under the ICC policies, it must be that country who is willing to play host or to absorb ang let's say si Tatay Digong, it should be a member of the ICC. And Malaysia is not. So, let us make it very clear itong mga haka-haka, mga news coming out since last week. They are saying Malaysia is most likely to be the country nearest to the Philippines. That is not true. That is not true. Okay, countries are mentioned most likely to absorb or to allow Duterte to be temporarily release, no? Ito na, ang Netherlands is one. Posible talaga po ang Netherlands. Second is France. Third is Germany. Posible din and Belgium. Why? Because malapit lang ito po dyan po sa The Hague. So, ang condition dyan po, si Tatay Digong, if granted ang interim release sa kanya po, now, he'll be staying there and may mga prohibitions po, no? Mga conditions that he has to follow. For example, he cannot talk to the media, sa media, cannot talk much, cannot leave the place, no? Sa ibang nation, go to the other countries, he cannot. But one thing good po, if Tatay Digong will be allowed or given itong interim release, then one thing good po. One is he will be having a house. He will be having a house wherein he can freely move, no? He can really move, and he will be accompanied by medical personnel like nurses or doctors or whoever, no? And he will be staying there po. And maganda po ang sabihin natin ang impression po will be good not only for Tatay Digong but also for The Hague, ang mga parties concerned po, no? Instead of Tatay Digong will be kept under the custody or detention sa detention center dyan po sa ICC or The Hague po, mas maganda yun kung may bahay. And considering that he is 80 years old. Mayroon pa yon sa United Nations, if I'm not mistaken. One of the ruling there that it is no longer allowed for somebody at the age of 50 to be detained, no? To be detained for humanitarian reason. And being 80 years old, sabihin natin na super senior na po, no? Marami niyan mga sakit, no? Maybe when he was arrested or arrested in Manila last, kailan ba yun? March 11 ba yun? From Hong Kong, and then to Manila. And he was arrested there and surrendered according to the Marcos administration. But to the Dutertes, they say they are kidnapped and handed over to the ICC. Now, they say he's strong. But of course, ilan na? March, April, May, June. June, 3 months na po. And with the situation that is facing, mentally, physically, ang environment po, you are there in detention center po, definitely ang feelings mo po will change po. So yun argument, sabi ng mga those who are opposing itong interim release, not to be granted, na healthy siya po because he came from Hong Kong. He was checked by the medical authorities before sending him off to The Hague. Okay na okay po. Na yun, yung panahon maybe okay pa. But after that, it really changed. Mentally po, nag-change na talaga yun po. No? So, at the age of 80, based on humanitarian reasons siguro po, no? We have to consider. But anyway, let's wait and see. Hopefully, it will be this week or before the end of June. Malalaman na natin po ano ang desisyon ng ICC. And remember, if he will be granted itong interim release, bid niya po, no? It will not be the first time. Mayroon din mga incidents wherein ang ICC, they also granted interim release sa individuals concerned, facing charges or complaints sa ICC. So yun ang ano natin. Yun ang what we say, ang latest updates regarding kay Tatay Digong. Let's continue to pray. Let's continue to pray. Good news ito po para sa mga supporters ni Tatay Digong, sa mga Pilipinos. But bad news ito po, those who doesn't want to see Tatay Digong temporarily enjoying temporary freedom po, or itong interim release bid niya po, no? Kagaya sila Atty. Conti, no? They are saying na hindi daw dapat kasi risky daw po, no? And it will be a threat to the families of the victims, the victims po. So what else can an 80-year-old man do, no? And away from the country, and barred from talking to people, making any public announcement, blah 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 blah. For humanitarian reason po, I for one would say, kailangan po, I will be very much happy to hear that the ICC will grant the interim release of Tatay Digong soon, if not too soon. Yan po. Alright, so let's continue with our program, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. And of course, I just want to remind itong mga followers ko po, one of the reasons why I'm doing this vlogging, it is because I want that ang mga fellow countrymen ko po dito sa Malaysia, particularly dito po sa Sabah, East Malaysia, both Sabah and Sarawak, as well as the West Malaysian Filipinos who are legally and working and residing in Malaysia, then you will be able to get some updates, breaking news regarding ang situation dyan po sa Pilipinas, because I believe as a Filipino, each and every one of us deserve to know what is happening in our motherland, in our country called the Philippines. Alright? The other big issues or very hot issues po dyan sa Pilipinas, ito na po ang impeachment trial ni Inday Sara Duterte. Ano ba ang mga latest developments po tungkol kay Inday Sara Duterte? But before going there, I want to share with you one video clips dito po, regarding kay Digong pa rin. You hold on, hold on. 252. Ano ba ito? 252. Saan tayo? 252. You hold on for a while. Or taking 052. 052. Saan yan 052? Parang I cannot see the 052. 052. Let's listen to this.
Ang Conti, malapit na sa Castro, no? Papunta na siya doon. Magkamali ka lang ng spelling, Castro na yung Conti na yan, eh. Hindi ko alam, ma'am, bakit hindi siya naniniwala. Pero kasi hanggang ngayon wala pang oath si dating Pangulong Duterte, no? So hindi pa namin alam dito sa Davao City kung mag-oath ba ang pinili namin na mayor ng Davao City. So on that note, yun lang ang pinagbabasehan namin. Sa ngayon, hindi siya uupo kasi wala pa siyang oath. Antayin natin siguro until June 30 kung may oath o wala si dating Pangulong Duterte.
Okay, yun po regarding itong si Tatay Digong who won as the overwhelmingly sa midterm election as the newly elected mayor of Davao po. Whether he will be able to perform his duties as a mayor, kailangan siya po taking po, no? And si Atty. Conti was quoted by the local media as well as by sa social media po na he doesn't believe that Tatay Digong will be granted or allowed to take his oath as a mayor of Davao City. But anyway, take the oath or not, walang problema po ang Davao because automatically ang vice mayor ng Davao who happens to be the son of Tatay Digong, si Baste Duterte, now before the election is the mayor of Davao, and he gave way for his father to be the mayor and he ran as a vice mayor. So because of what happened, may vacancy po, si Baste will take over the post of mayor, no? Post of mayor, and let's see for the official announcement coming from the Commission on Election, which will be announced by no other than ang chairman ng COMELEC, si Chairman George Garcia. Yan po ang issue ni Tatay Digong as a mayor of Davao City. Overwhelming po, no? He won overwhelmingly. As well as ang vice mayor si Baste overwhelmingly won the midterm election as mayor of Davao City. Now, talking about Inday Sara Duterte, mayroon itong social media platform identified na po and really going against Inday Sara Duterte po, no? They're using this platform to destroy ang pangalan or tennis ang pangalan ni Inday Sara Duterte as Vice President, and at the same time destroy, delete the name of the Dutertes in the political arena in the Philippines po. Nandito po ang sagot when Inday Sara Duterte was questioned about this issue. Let's listen to this. And kayo na bahala po, to make your observations, your decision po, whether you agree or not. Nandito po, you hold on, 3 something ito. Hold on. Let's listen to Inday Sara Duterte when she was asked this kind of question.
They are asking your comment regarding dun sa report ng OpenAI, the mother company of ChatGPT, that the PR firm of the son of Yossi Tango, a billionaire, is behind the anti-Sara Duterte post online using ChatGPT platform. And your comment, ma'am?
Oo. Actually, hindi lang yung kay Tanco, no? Ang kumpanya na nagpapatakbo ng program na anti-Sara Duterte online, anti-Duterte online, no? Meron pang mga ibang kumpanya na alam namin na ganun yung ginagawa nila at alam din namin na bayad sila. Kaya ako nagsasabi lagi, no, na yung ginagawa sa akin ay threats, harassment, and intended to disqualify me from the 2028 presidential elections. Kasi tulad niyan, tingnan nyo, noon may TRICOM ba ang tawag noon? Tawag nung hearing, Quadcom, tapos may TRICOM for fake news and for fake news. Yes, may TRICOM na for fake news. Pero kung makikita nyo, ang mga tinawag nila doon ay mga lehitimong owners ng Facebook account using their freedom of speech and expression. Mga lehitimong social media personalities na nagbibigay ng kanilang opinion na hindi naman bawal sa batas, pero nakakalungkot kasi yung kanilang opinion pro-Duterte, pro-Sara Duterte, at yun ang iniimbestigahan. Pero ang mga tulad nito, mga kumpanya na ang negosyo nila ay gumagamit ng mga program para sirain ang pangalan ng isang tao, ay hindi man lang kahit isang beses tinawag doon sa TRICOM na investigation ng House of Representatives. So yan, nagpapakita na itong lahat ay ano lang talaga, politika at harassment sa mga kalaban sa politika ng administrasyon. Hindi na yan ang galing sa amin, sir, ha? Hindi na kami nagsasalita kung anong mga panggigipit ang ginagawa sa amin. Tumatahimik na lang kami. Yung mga kaalyado namin, tumatahimik na lang. Yan talaga, tulad nung pag-amin ng mga congressman na may natanggap silang pera, kapalit ang signature, yung nilabas ng OpenAI na isang kumpanya na involved sa paninirang puri ng mga tao ay hindi galing sa amin, galing na sa universe. So, para lang ipakita sa mga tao na anong ginagawa ng administrasyon. Puro politika, walang trabaho. At ngayon, gusto pang i-blame, no, sa akin ang bagsak na ekonomiya ng Pilipinas.
Alright, yun po ang statement, ang sagot ni Inday Sara Duterte tungkol itong issue na ito po, no? Itong platform ni Tangko. No? So, kayo, what do you think? Para sa akin, may puntos talaga si Inday Sara Duterte. And anumang observation ninyo, ang desisyon ninyo, you believe it or not, kayo nang bahala po. But if you ask me, I for one say na I agree with Inday Sara Duterte. Okay, on the later part of the interview or itong footage ko. Now, there was mention about ang foreign investment sa Pilipinas po, no? Which Inday Sara Duterte also commented. Now, some people are blaming itong issue ni Inday Sara Duterte, ang impeachment, corruption complaints, charges against her po. This is one of the reasons why ang mga foreign investors are having second thoughts in coming down to the Philippines and invest. Hindi yun totoo, sabi ni Inday Sara Duterte. Let's listen to this response of Inday Sara Duterte regarding this particular issue. Okay? Let's listen to this. 141. 141. Okay, 141. Let's listen to this.
Nandyan, no, wala yung impeachment, wala na talagang investor confidence dito sa ating bayan. Kung nakikita nyo, bagsak ang foreign direct investment sa ating bayan, no? Kaya wag nila ako gawing rason kung bakit pangit ang takbo ng ating ekonomiya ngayon sa ating bayan. At saka, this is not accountability because impeachment, dalawa lang yung penalties dyan. Removal from office, tsaka perpetual disqualification from government service. Walang penalties dyan dahil walang kaso dyan. Ang impeachment ay removal process ng isang impeachable officers. Kung gusto talaga nila ng accountability, ay mag-file ng mga kaso dyan sa mga korte. Alam naman natin at alam naman nila na yung mga pirma ng mga congressman, unang-una, hindi nila pinasa yung articles of impeachment. Pangalawa, marami sa kanila ang tumanggap ng budget o pera kapalit ng kanilang signatures. In fact, madami sa kanila ang umamin na may kapalit yung kanilang pagpirma doon sa articles of impeachment. So if we are to talk about accountability by business groups, dapat questionin din natin kung paano ginawa yung articles of impeachment at paano pinasa yung articles of impeachment papunta doon sa Senado.
Alright, yun po. Again, I agree with Inday Sara Duterte. Well, put the blame to Inday Sara Duterte po, no? Nakita na natin po, because there's only three things. As I mentioned earlier, repeatedly, investors will not come to the country, to a very specific country to invest. Ang mga foreign investors po, kung walang isa. Security stability. In other words, peace and order. Kung mahina o may problema ang isang country when it comes to the peace and order or security, then it will discourage foreigners to come and invest. Normal lang yon. Second, political stability. Kung walang political stability po, walang assurance na okay ang investment ng mga foreigners sa Pilipinas, so sa particular nation, no? Political stability is very important, no? And third is economic stability. Kung wala tayong economic stability ang Pilipinas, don't expect foreigners, foreign investors to come in. Maybe mayroon konti lang, but hindi kagaya kung mayroon kayong stabilities, political, security, and economic stabilities. Then you will see na ang foreign investors will consider expanding the operation to the Philippines o sa nation natin po. Ang mga infrastructures, problema tayo po, economic. Problema tayo, kulang ang infrastructure. We don't have a stable, sabihin natin, stable electricity, power, and water supply. Problema yan po. Walang road access. You think these foreign investors will come to the country? Kung mag-away-away ang mga politicians natin, mga kabinete, sa gobyerno, mga politicians, mga congressmen, you think ang foreign investors will come to this country or to that country or to the Philippines? Definitely not. Definitely not. Maskin tayo mga Filipino po, we will not invest our money to a country kung walang security, walang political stability, walang economic stability. Yan po, whether we like it or not po. So, let us hope that our government will address this problem. And then, only then, we will be able to see na mga foreigners, foreign investors will come to the Philippines. Shoutout muna tayo kay Rinaldo Dagoy and ang kaibigan din natin, si Ines. Si Ines. Thank you very much for watching my program, and I hope all the best sa inyo, good health, and wish everything is running smoothly kay Ray and si Ines. Good afternoon. So, Malay, we used to say it, or we are saying it, salamat pagi, salamat patang, and salamat malam. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. Si Ray and si Ines, as well as ang mga followers natin dito po sa Nick Talk, Real Talk with Nico. Now, I will share with you another footage regarding itong impeachment trial ni Inday Sara Duterte, no? Meron din yung mga tawag dyan po, to mga senators who are against, Inday Sara Duterte. Sabi nila, itong mga senador daw, no? Bias, supporting si Inday Sara Duterte should not be senator judge sa impeachment trial ni Inday Sara Duterte. Now, obviously, they are referring it to Senator Amy Marcos and Senator Robin Hood Padilla. Now, when asked this question to Inday Sara Duterte dyan po sa Davao this morning, nandito po ang answer niya. Let's listen to this. And I think this will be my last footage for today's episode. Nandito po. Second to the last siguro ito. Okay. Nandito ang sagot ni Inday Sara Duterte regarding the issue.
Okay. Hindi kasi tayo pwede magpa-inhibit ng mga tao, ng mga senators. Hindi kasi tayo pwede magpa-inhibit ng mga senator judges based on bias. Dahil ang posisyon lang naman ng isang tao is you are for or against. Inday Sara, no? Kung ganun ang ating basehan sa inhibition, ay dapat din natin ipa-inhibit ang mga senators na meron ding bias against Sara Duterte, na tulad na lang ni Senator Risa Ontiveros na in a public speech, sinabi niya na kailangan talaga ano ba term na ginamit? Kailangan burahin or kailangan wasakin, kailangan sirain, gibain ang pamilyang Duterte. So kung ganon, na magpa-inhibit tayo based on bias, ay madaming senators ang ipapa-inhibit for or against Sara Duterte. Kaya sinasabi ko, ibigay na natin yung benefit of a doubt dyan sa ating mga senator judges na gagawin nila ang trabaho nila ng patas according to sa sinumpaan nila as senator judges.
Okay, yun po ang sagot ni Inday Sara Duterte regarding itong claim by some politicians, senators, na there are some, or si Senator Rubin Padilla, saka si Amy Marcos bias daw po and dapat inhibit being senator judge sa trial ni Inday Sara Duterte. Yun po ang explanation, ang response ni Inday Sara Duterte, which again, I salute, I agree, totally I agree. Just leave it to the newly formed impeachment trial court, which is now being headed by Senate President and Judge, presiding officer, si Senator or President Chis Escudero. And finally po, ang last footage ko po, let's listen to impeachment judge or impeachment presiding officer, Senator Judge, President, si Chis Escudero on the issue. Let's listen to this po. Sandali, ha? Let's listen to this. This will be my last footage.
Sa ngayon, walang limitasyon ang impeachment court. Kaugnay ng pwede o hindi namin pwedeng pagpasyahan. Nakalagay nga sa saligang batas, di ba? Sole power to try and decide. Sa aming rules o sa rules man ng rules of court, walang nakasaad doon na bawal ka gumawa ng ganito o ganyan o ganoong motion. Lahat ng motion pwedeng gawin at pagbobotohan ng impeachment court. Walang limitasyon yon. May mababasa ba siya at may matuturo ba siya na bawal itong motion sa impeachment court? Bawal itong hilingin ng sino mang impeachment court judge? Wala naman. At ulitin ko, bagaman siya ay dating miyembro ng Korte Suprema, hindi siya isa sa magpapasya kung tama nga ba mali ang ginawa ng impeachment court. At hanggang sa ngayon yata, wala pa naman yata nagsasampa ng kaso sa Korte Suprema para questionin yan. Ang proseso ay ito. Kung may ginawa ang Senado ang Kamaraman na hindi naaayon sa konstitusyon sa pananaw mo, sa pananaw ni Justice Carpio, ni naman, malaya silang pwede mag-question sa Korte Suprema. At Korte Suprema magpapasya kung sino nga ba ang tama at mali. Ganyan yung nangyari halimbawa sa one-year ban na hinihiling na impormasyon ng Senado ng impeachment court sa Kamara. Kinwestiyon yan sa Korte Suprema at nakabinbin ngayon yan sa Korte Suprema.
Alright, yun po, narinig niyo si Senate President and now the presiding judge ng impeachment trial ni Inday Sara Duterte, si Chis Escudero. When you mention about motion po, yun na po ang motion, yun return back to center or remand ang article of impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte back to the House of Representatives. Now, nagiging issue yan ngayon po, may conflict between the House of Representatives and the Senate. And the Senate. Yan po ang issue ngayon. And let's see, there is only one thing very clear. Despite of the conflict between the Congress and the Senate, there's only one thing clear, and no one can deny. The impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte is very much alive. And it will only jumpstart during the 20th Congress. Yan po. And it will be after the SONA of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. po. Kailan ba yun ang SONA niya? State of the Nation Address. That will be July 28 ko, 29. Somewhere there. And then after that, mag-umpisa na po ang impeachment trial ni Inday Sara Duterte. In fact, kasi Inday Sara Duterte was already issued, ang Senate already issued the summon sa kanya to about ang allegation complaint against her. And she was given 10 days to respond. And after that, another 5 days to the prosecutors to also comment on the response. So let's see po, yun po ang sitwasyon ngayon. And ang dami na po, mga lawyers sa Pilipinas pala, no? Left and right po. Different kind of understanding, reading of the laws. Now, there's only one thing sure. Let's wait for the Supreme Court to make the final or to say the final, to say the final say ang understanding ng mga laws natin po dyan sa Constitution. Sino ba ang correct or sino ba wrong? Ngayon nakikita natin both mga interviews sa mga attorneys, mga lawyers, mga politicians po, left and right ang ano nila po. And obviously may agenda sila when they start explaining itong what they say is wrong. Ang move ng Senate. So, bring it to the Supreme Court and let the Supreme Court decide paano ang interpretasyon ng law, ng that particular law or ruling po. So, let's see. Wait and see and do not believe everything that the people say. Look, kay lawyer siya, kay media man siya, blogger siya, or what. We can lend our ears, yes, we will listen, but it doesn't mean that we will believe it. The only person that can make a clear answer, give a clear answer on this issue is no other than ang Supreme Court natin sa Pilipinas. And let's wait and see po. And let's wait and see. So, siguro hanggang dito na lang ang Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico once again. Once again, let's all be united and pray that itong mga problema natin sa Pilipinas, we will be able to solve it as soon as possible po. Para at least mag-move on na ang Pilipinas po, no? Dami tayong problema na. Yun na problema din ng Senate saka ang House of Representatives, ang increase ng wages ng Pilipino. Now you see also, problema na naman. Controversial issue na naman ito between the Congress and the Senate. Dami tayong problema. Ang election na naman ng kabataan barangay sa kang barangay. Ang election ng bar. Ang dami tayong problema. Ang dami tayong problema. So let's be united and pray and hope for the best para pwede na tayo mag-move on. In the meantime, mga overseas Filipino workers, let's do our part and let's protect our good reputation sa mga employers natin. And yes, well, in one way or the other, directly or indirectly, we will continue to remit our remittances dyan sa Pilipinas for the sake para maganda ang futuro, ang buhay ng mga loved ones natin whom we temporarily left dyan sa Pilipinas. So with this, once again, Nico Fabian would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines, God bless us all, and see you in my next episode. Bye.